Good.
Let's bring you guys back together.
Sometimes you want to go.
Yeah. But,
Jeez.
but it is funny how ever since we got a show together, all they've been doing is pulling us apart. Whether it's the pandemic and not being in the same studio or you being used elsewhere, me being used elsewhere, yet this show still has our name on it. But as we were chatting before the show this morning, you had a really interesting take on a place where Aaron Rodgers would have the most success, most immediate success as you know. I mean, now we're at June 1st. After June 1st is when teams can start spreading cap hits across 2 years and making different deals. And obviously one of the biggest names potentially to be traded is Aaron Rodgers. Now, Dan Graziano was on yesterday. We'll talk with him a little bit later on in the show as well. But he was on the show yesterday, and he had this really interesting take about Aaron Rodgers and his whole situation with Green Bay.
I think Rodgers is being completely ridiculous. Like, one of the things, there's so many layers to this that bother me, but one of the things is like the idea that, it would have been better if they had told him they were going to draft Jordan Love before they did. No, it wouldn't. They still would have picked. They still would have been the same exact situation if they took his replacement. Look, if he doesn't want to play, he doesn't want to play. They can get a lot of money back, and they can move on to Jordan Love sooner than they planned to. If he does want to play, where's he going to go? That gives him a better chance to win the Super Bowl.
All right, Bart. Where's he going to go? Where he's going to have a better chance to win a Super Bowl than where he is right now?
For me, and this people might say, "Whoa, he's going against the baddest man on the planet." Well, he is the baddest man on the planet. Last I checked, he was the MVP. I think if he goes to Denver, I think that he has just as good of a chance to follow in the footsteps of Peyton Manning and be in the Super Bowl shortly. I think that he has just as good of a chance. The question is, where does Green Bay go if they trade him? Like, Green Bay goes to maybe not even making a wild card
Rebuild.
Exactly. So that's why they holding on. That's why we love you. We really care about you.
You might as well trade Devontae, right, by the deadline?
Right, because Devontae's leaving too. Devontae contract's coming up. So if Aaron leaves, just imagine, okay, he goes to Denver. Where do you think Devontae going next year?
Exodus.
Right, where do you think he going next year? Right, so even if they have to give up some of the right, exactly. So even if Denver has to give up some of that young talent that they have, and if people haven't paid attention to that roster in Denver because they've had Drew Lock, who's not a good quarterback,
They were 5-11 though, Bart.
It don't matter. Listen, you go from worst to first pretty fast. Where was Denver before Peyton went there? Right, the Tim Tebow led Denver Broncos.
In the playoffs.
Yeah, okay, and one and done. And he took him to the Super Bowl and broke records the very next year with the same talent. So imagine Aaron out there with Noah Fant, one of the fastest tight ends in the game, KJ Hamler. You think about Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, if he can maybe realize that you have one thumb for a reason, not two, be able to lock the ball and catch the football. And then they still have Melvin Gordon. And then they got Patrick Surtain. They got Kendall Fuller. They have a great team. They just missing some, a couple pieces, a little tweak here and there.
They're going to have to give up one or two of those pieces, though, you're talking about.
I don't understand why people say pieces, right? Because really, what's your leverage if you're Green Bay, right? I'm giving you 2 1s and 2 2s. Thank you. See you later. That's proper compensation,
I like
right?
that.
So if I'm giving you 2 1s and 2 2s, I'm holding on to my young core, right?
Here's your leverage. I don't do anything.
Okay. Hey, Ron. Okay, here's your leverage. I'm out here playing my ukulele with my girl out in Hawaii.
Good.
Kick rocks.
Good.
Can I tell you guys something random? Every time I hear the name Jerry Jeudy, I just think about the interview that you guys had with him, and I just
that was just a bad look for that kid. Man.
I know, because he's like 2 thumbs instead of 1. I'm like, Bart, don't go down that road. Stay on the path. I heard the interview.
What was the worst part of that interview? I'm trying to remember all the details.
You just like, dude, you know what?
I let him go.
Yeah,
I let him go.
We're going to let you go,
but
man.
Wasn't there one time where it sounded like he had to
on.
take care of something? Like he all of a sudden was like, hang on a second. We're like, hang on a second.
Hang on a second. We're doing a live interview,
like,
Jerry.
Sure.
And then what was the other thing we asked him? What do you do? Like, because he had a sponsor.
He didn't even know what the spot, man. That was bad. Look, we're not going to read the game.
You talk about the change a quarterback can make for Denver, right? The last time Denver has even approached a 40 touchdown pass season was Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Was Peyton Manning. It goes to show you the drastic gap that exists for a guy like what Aaron Rodgers could provide to that team, to all the weapons that Bart just mentioned. Like, that's a game changer.
But you're still at best the second best team, at best in the AFC.
You think
You're still competing, though.
You think
you're still competing.
You think Aaron is worried about that?
I don't think he's worried. But I go back to if I'm the Packers. You heard what Graz said. I agree with Dan. if I'm doing, and I'm the one. Remember, I'll start with this. I'm the one that thinks you fire the GM. He's the one that made the mistake.
We're in the same.
But
you and I
I'm
going to
flip it now and just take the other side of it and say, if I'm him now, and I know that I'm not going to get fired regardless, Mark Murphy's still, you're not going anywhere. We're not making any changes at the top.
Fine.
Okay, great. Then I'm telling him, you sit out. You go ahead and sit out. You become the villain.
Okay.
You become the villain.
So what,
as we're losing, it's on you, and the fans will turn on you because you refuse to play for us.
And by the way, Bart, you have to pay us a lot of money back, Aaron Rodgers.
You think, man? For one, you think I'm worried about that? When I know I'm just going to recruit that for my new team. Like anyway, you think Carson Palmer cared about giving money back to Cincinnati? And here's the other thing: people forget about the third option Aaron got. How about I show up and I just come in here and be a nuisance? How about I just come here? You still got to pay me. How about if I come here, my hamstring hurt. I'm not going out there unless I'm 100%. I get dinged up. Come on, man.
You're the bad guy.
I gotta be honest.
Listen, at some point, you got to be the bad guy.
I think his pride wouldn't
Does he
allow him
wanna
to
be
do
the
that,
bad
to come
guy?
back and play and kind of disrupt the locker room. I think he would just sit out.
Well, what
what
about his pride coming in and saying, you know what, I'm not going to play if I'm 100%, unless I'm 100%. I'm not going to put myself on the line, because what's happening is they're using Aaron Rodgers as a 1-year rental. Right, understanding that they can get out of his contract next year, so they're using him as a rental. So you're not about to use me and abuse me and put my body at risk, knowing that you're going to get rid of me, next year.
Like I said, this is not something I think is going to end anytime soon. I just feel like this is going to drag out. Everybody think June 1st. Now something's going to happen. Maybe with Julio Jones, but I don't think with Aaron Rodgers. And we'll continue this debate. And Rob DeMoss is going to join us later on in the show to give us the take from Green Bay. Game 5 tonight in the NBA for the Lakers. AD's status uncertain. Remember, that series is tied at 2. So what does this all mean for the King? That is next. KJZ, ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app.
They're not beating this Suns team without Anthony Davis, especially with CP.
Security just coming out of Bobby Boucher. Just lays him out Bart Scott style in the middle of the floor. And then Dwight Howard walking over to him like, what are you doing,
why'd
idiot?
you do that, man?
Why?
That was a mistake.
The most entertaining aspect of the game.
And you know this is going to continue to happen because people want to be famous, right? I think, we're going to have to start taking the camera away from them, not showing it like they do in football. When streakers go out there in football, they don't show them, they don't put them on television. Because now it's getting to the point where people just want
that was
to
a
be
drunk
seen.
bet.
Yeah, because you see,
I'll pay for your bail. Don't worry, bro. I'll pay for your bail. You got to do it. Like you sitting there going
it was like I bet you a beer. It wasn't over bail. I bet you a beer.
I could touch backboard. No, you can't. I can. Go ahead. You do that right now. I'll get thrown out. I'll pay your bail, bro.
He slapped it like I slapped in 6th grade though. That's how he's grammar school.
Just throw the ball up first.
Yeah,
with the layup.
the whole backboard just rattles.
And then you miss the layup because you hit the backboard.
Nobody cares about the missed layup part.
See, but you look at the person in Boston, right? He was taking a selfie as he was getting arrested. You know what I mean? I think what they should do when these fans start doing this, doing something to the fans. You know what I mean? They should let them. Give them 10 minutes in the room. Should be like Ocean's 11. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Let them in the room. You want to throw stuff?
You want these hands?
You want to throw stuff?
Bradley Beal. You want these Bradley Beal hands?
Yeah. You want some?
Again, in Ocean's 11, he didn't actually hit him. That was all.
Yeah. It's just,
not in the face. How's the family doing?
Bart Scott's here with us. Keyshawn J. Will Zubin, presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests join us on the Goodyear Hotline. Well, that fan wasn't the only one that was on the floor in that game. Joel Embiid had a hard fall and did not return for the second half. And
was it his knee or his back? I'm confused.
My knee, my back.
Or your Ezel.
My neck and
my back.
Yeah,
I want 150. You already got it, Ben.
Just lower body issue. How about that?
Something. Whatever it was, though, it was a hard fall. He goes down.
It's an
We're
awkward
showing it
fall.
right now.
He was putting work before that, though.
So if you walk, when I watch it, you can see where he got hurt. Watch his heels hit the ground first. And you ever hit your heel and you kind of jam your Achilles, and that's why I see like it hits the knee because he grabbed behind the knee. This is the biggest concern we always have about Joel Embiid, that we know that train is never late, right? We know that the injury history and the fact that he's such a big man, athletic, doing little man moves, that we worry about his body not holding up.
I'm not worried about Joel Embiid. I'm not.
Not this year?
Look, this is his best season he's had in his career. Okay, there always will be questions around his health. That's always going to be a thing. We can get into that debate about who would you rather take, Joel Embiid or Anthony Davis, but I'm leaning towards Joel Embiid in a big way.
Yeah.
And look, man, like they're up